Good day, everybody. This is Patrick Ash from Patrick Ash Coaching, and today I'm going to present you part one in a series of short talks about developing a healthy athlete. And this is all to help you become the healthiest, highest performing athlete possible. The first part today is going to be talking about training for success. Steps for success. We're going to first define what is a healthy athlete. Identify your critical performance components, and then learning how to fit training into your life. And then problem solve the curveball. So when life throws you the unexpected, how do you adapt your training to account for that? And 5, progression plus recovery equals performance. So how do you progressively build your training with the right amount of recovery, which will lead to your best performance? Many people have this philosophy: the more hours I train, the more prepared I will be for race day. It seems logical, tends to appear to the fear part of our brain that more must be better, right? And this is a dangerous trap to fall into, because what tends to happen is you typically tend to just focus on the amount of volume you're doing and try to achieve a number or an hour or a distance, and over time that may help you improve in the short term, but over time it typically leads to stagnation and performance decline. It promotes a focus on quantity rather than quality of training. So you're all about the hours and the miles versus what you're doing in the particular sessions and the quality of those sessions. So I would flip that term around and say the more quality sessions I consistently complete will have the greatest impact on my performance. So again, it comes down to quality and consistency of completing those quality sessions will impact your performance. So how do you create this scenario to create quality and consistency? One, you have to have an honest discussion with yourself. What are my time demands for family, work, and necessary stuff? Once you figure out what hours you spend doing those things, what remains becomes your available training time. When you look at it this way, it gives you flexibility and freedom to add or subtract hours when your schedule calls for it. So if you have to go out of town for business, you'll have to change your schedule. You get sick, you'll have to change your schedule. Have to go to a family emergency, have to switch your schedule. Oh, don't have to go on that business trip. I get to change my schedule. I'm going to take an extra day off. I get to change my schedule and get some extra sessions in. So you see, it's all about having flexibility and freedom to adjust your schedule as necessary. Every training session has a purpose related to a specific phase of training. So right now we're in February. We're sort of in our base and moving into our building phases where we're really working on form, technique, building endurance, building general fitness right now. So there has to be a specific emphasis on that. Then once you move to race season, then we get more specifically geared up to train for the specific demands of our race. This allows you to train smarter, not longer. You stay healthy because, again, you're adjusting your schedule as your time commitments demand, and then you're engaged in the process. You're an active participant in the journey instead of just trying to take a program and follow it without any consideration for the rest of your life. Training should be a positive addition and complement to the rest of your life. If it becomes negative, adds stress, you lose motivation, don't enjoy it, you got to change things up. So what are your critical performance components? There's 5 of them: training, recovery, the mental component, nutrition, and strength and mobility. So training we're going to talk about today. Recovery is important, obviously, so that you can get the most out of your training. The mental component, teaching you how to dig deep, teaching you how to learn how to get the most out of yourself, teaching you how to prepare for races, how to execute race plans. All those things go into the mental component. Nutrition, not only the nutrition you use to perform, but the nutrition you use outside of training in order to maximize your recovery. And then strength and mobility. Are you strong and resilient? Do you have the range of motion required for your sport? Do you move well in your sport? And that's not only important for sport performance, but it's also important for life. These 5 things make up the healthy and well-performing athlete. Training. You want to be consistent. Can you back it up? Chop wood, carry water every day. You know, it's about building session after session after session. It's never about one particular session. Training needs to be progressive. It needs to build and layer on top so that you're constantly building your fitness as you go through your season up to your race. And patience. You have to see the big picture. You want to identify a big goal, a race or event for the season, then small mini goals along the way. These could be local races or events that you use to help keep you motivated and focused. And you want to make sure in your training that your intensity matches the intent of the session, and this is where training zones come in. Training zones provide a common language, a specific intent, and allow you to see progression. So for example, you may be doing a workout now that's a zone 3 effort, and then you come back a few months down the road and you do that same effort at that same output, and oh, look at that, you're at a zone 2 effort. So now you know your fitness is improved. So this is where training zones can be helpful in setting race paces and power outputs and heart rates, relevant mostly for longer events, but again can be helpful in really gearing in and making your training specific. You want to avoid the common mistakes. Number chasing. Remember, GPS, power, heart rate are all tools to support your training, but your primary goal is always to nail the appropriate feeling of effort or that perceived exertion rather than just trying to hit a particular number. This whole idea of chasing numbers, what it does is when you're completing sessions at a higher intensity than the intent of the session, and can make easy, important recovery sessions seem like failures. So, in other words, you may end up doing the easy sessions too hard, and you may not be able to hit the numbers on the hard sessions because you're too fatigued from doing the easy sessions too hard. So they really allow you to draw in. In measuring improvement, it comes down to repeated key sessions to help measure progression, but also race day. That's the ultimate. We're using race day to see how we've prepared. Bottom line, training zones allow you to perform the work at the intensity prescribed. Let's look at the 5 training zones. First of all, Zone 1, active recovery. The intent of this is not to gain fitness, it's about moving blood. It's about easy recovery sessions, using your warm-up and recovery between intervals. You usually use a 1 out of 10 scale for effort. 1 being no effort at all, 10 being full gas, max effort. And so this zone 1 is a 3 out of 10. Very easy, could go all day, easily converse. Zone 2 is easy endurance. It's important for building essential endurance needed for events. It's 4 to 5 out of 10. Comfortable effort, moderate. You're aware of work, but you can still carry on a conversation. Probably you feel this in a Century Ride for Fun, an Ironman, the beginning of the marathon, an ultra. Zone 3 is tempo. This is about building muscular endurance. It's the ability to hold strong, steady effort for extended intervals. This is a 6 out of 7 out of 10. It's a strong effort, but nowhere near breathless. It's moderate hard. You could answer questions, but don't feel like initiating conversation. You'd see this in a half Ironman, beginning of a half marathon, a Century Ride, or race. And Zone 4 is threshold. This is about increasing the power and pace that you can hold for extended period. It's a 8 or 9 out of 10. It's very strong but sustainable effort. This is hard, but a hard that you can maintain. You can still say a few words, but you're very aware of the work that you're doing. You'd see this in a 10K race, a 40K time trial on the bike, or a Sprinter Olympic triathlon. Explosive power is Zone 5. This is to develop your ability to hold form at high outputs, improves efficiency of movement. This is a 10 out of 10, but it's never an intensity where you can't hold or maintain form. And these must be short intervals of full recovery, no conversation, focused, because you're so focused on the task at hand. So you might see strides in running, some short high cadence work in cycling, or short sprints in swimming. So how would power and heart rate fit into this? And pace? Well, if you think about it, remember you use these as references, but it's always about perceived effort because that will help you get the intention of the workout. Heart rate can be, it's really a response to your efforts, and it can be affected by many external factors such as heat, appetite, stress. That can affect your heart rate response to an effort. Power is absolute. It's great because a watt is a watt is a watt, doesn't matter where you are, but it's only correct if you're not overly fatigued or tired. So you always want to reference back to how you should feel in the effort. And pace can be affected by things like terrain. So if you're going up a hill, your pace will slow. If you're coming down, it'll speed up. So really it's about dialing in the intent and feeling of effort first, and then using those tools as a reference afterwards. How do you fit training into your life? Well, there's different ways to create health and performance. Start with time dedicated to family, work, and other necessary stuff. Whatever time remains is your available training time. We're going to talk about a single sport versus multi-sport week. So here's a typical training week for a single sport athlete. This is an example of one. This would be in a base and build phase, just like we're in right now. So this is a 7-day schedule. Again, Monday would be zone 3 tempo intervals. Tuesday, strength and mobility. Wednesday, we do some threshold. Thursday, active recovery to recover from that threshold set. On Wednesday, Friday would be strength and mobility. Saturday, some tempo intervals. And Sunday would be like a longer, easy endurance or recovery session. So this schedule can be worked into 9 or even 12-day cycles. So this is 7. You'd make it 9 or 12 by just adding more recovery days in between the quality sessions on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Remember, the key is to have enough recovery to achieve progression on the quality efforts. Now, if we're talking about a multi-sport athlete, here's a typical 7-day schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, Monday, strength and mobility, maybe an optional run, or it could be strictly a recovery day. Tuesday would be a key swim and a key ride. Wednesday, key run, optional swim. Thursday, a key ride, optional run off the bike. Friday would be strength and mobility, and maybe an optional easy ride. Saturday would be a key ride, run off the bike. Sunday would be a key swim and a key run. So again, the important thing is identifying when you can do your key sessions, and then all other supporting sessions, in this case the ones that aren't bolded, are removed depending on time available. And you can make this a 9 or 12-day schedule depending on recovery, so that just means you'd add more recovery days in between the key sessions. So that's a typical multi-sport athlete. Base and build, but again, it can be designed many different ways. This is just one example. So in summary, training, consistent, chop wood, carry water every day. You're doing the work day in, day out. That's consistency, and that will lead to improvement over time. Your training also needs to be progressive. It should build from more general to more specific as you get into your race season, and then patience. You need to see the big picture. Make sure you have your goals and you stay motivated along the way. Always begin with identifying the key session days and fill in the supporting training as time allows. And then identify your big goal and have small mini goals along the way to keep you motivated. And make sure your training matches the intent of the session. That's where training zones are so important and can be helpful. Next up, recovery, why you need to plan for it. So thanks for your time today. If you have any questions, you can email me at patrickashcoaching@gmail.com. Thanks.